Yo! Video games.
What up, dudes? Matt here from YoVideogames. Well, E3 has come and gone, and over the next week or so, I will be posting impression videos from the playable titles that I got my hands on during the show. First, though, I thought maybe I should talk about Xenoblade 2, as it is my most anticipated title coming out this year. Now, I've been thinking about how to do a thoughts and impressions video about this since day one of the show, and I want to avoid just repeating information that is freely available to see on Nintendo's channel. I encourage anyone who does want to know what the finer details are to check it out, but for this video it's going to be a much more editorial and much more about how I personally feel about the title. First off, it was pretty cool that this was the first game shown in Nintendo's E3 Direct, after their lame-ass lifestyle montage and pointless Reggie introduction, of course. The trailer shown wasn't a very good showcase of the game as far as I'm concerned. The story focus and cutscenes picked don't really show off the game's greatest strengths, and really, in fact, show its weakest. One thing that is important to note from the get-go is that the trailer was in English, meaning that the dub has already happened, and, in fact, it was said at the show that the mixing should be complete in about a week from this video going up. Holy shit! Also important to note is that the UI, text, and menus are also all in English in the build that was shown. This all looks very, very good for the game actually releasing this year. In fact, that was probably the biggest surprise for me of the trailer, was that they're sticking to a holiday 2017 release. And with Mario coming in October, this is probably going to be their big November title. Now, getting back to what I said earlier about the weakest aspects, I'm going to get this right out of the way first. The character designs are atrocious. From their general look to their clothing, it's almost all bad. Well, for the main two characters. I think the rest of the cast doesn't look too bad, actually. Maybe somewhat generic to a Tales of game, but Rex and Pyra in particular look awful. Thankfully, it's usually a staple of the series to be able to change outfits, so that will be the first damn thing I do when I play the game. On a funnier note, it seems Lord Clusterfuck Delay Man himself, Tetsuya Nomura, designed a character for this game as well. What joy! Perhaps he could take some pointers on how to finish and release games from Monolith Soft as well. The other weak part is, of course, the story itself. I've made it no secret that I have little love for Takahashi's pretentious, high school philosophical anime dramas. I expect no different here. However, during E3, Takahashi wrote an open letter to the fans in which he admits that his stories all seem to start the same and that this time he wanted to try something different. I admire and respect the fact that he's always been critical of himself and has recognized when it is time to change the gameplay up for the first Xenoblade as a good example. And perhaps now we won't get a story with the exact same twists and plot points, just told differently like every other Xeno game he's ever made. But I'm not counting on it. So this may sound like I'm super down on the game, but truth couldn't be further from it. Going back to that open letter, it really sounds like this is very much going to be a spiritual sequel in setting and style to the first Xenoblade. I say spiritual because apparently it's a whole different universe from Part 1, despite having 2 in the title. Wouldn't surprise me though if there was a late game twist connecting it to Part 1's ending. Who knows? What I mean is that it's still going to have large open areas to fight and explore. In fact, the key word exploration was used in the open letter, with, of course, its more narrative-driven focus. The other big factor for me on this game is the soundtrack, headlined by the legendary Yasunori Mitsuda with the help of Ace from the first game and others. Thankfully, 4 soundtrack samples were released during the show, but only the title screen theme is composed by Mitsuda. Thankfully, the battle themes and area theme also sound great, much better than Xenoblade X, but I would be lying if I said I am satisfied. I want to hear Mitsuda's other works involving giant orchestras and choirs, damn it! As for the rest of the game, we saw a huge emphasis on the more streamlined battle system, or rather the menu and access of specials. Again, I'd just be repeating the info here, so check it out when you have some time on Nintendo's channel. My hot take is, that's cool. The Blade Crystal is a neat addition to weapons and looting, and since this is a Nintendo game, it probably won't be exploited with microtransactions, which is nice. At this point, I just want to play it and hear more of the OST. It's prompted my hasty purchase of a Switch just a few hours before making this video, and despite really not feeling it on the character designs, it's still my most anticipated game of the year to play. Just like Max with Marvel Infinite. Don't let shitty character designs ruin a fun game, people. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you on the channel. Later, dudes.